Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Stuart here from Spain Speaks with the Spain News Update. And after dominating politics for close to 4 decades in Spain's Andalusia region, the Socialist Party yesterday was absolutely smashed in local elections there. But more about that in just a moment. Firstly, a big thanks to all of the people that left comments on the last video. Lots of comments, lots of debate happening there as usual. Thanks to people that supported the channel by buying me a coffee, or people that used the new Super Thanks option. Many thanks for that. Thanks to people that bought merchandise, and a big thanks to my patrons on Patreon for your continuing support. Now, let's get into the news, and as I said, the dominance that the Socialist Party has had on Andalusian politics for close to 4 decades yesterday came to an end as the Partido Popular absolutely smashed the Socialist Party and ended up with an absolute majority in the parliament. As we can read here, the Partido Popular sweeps Andalusia and accelerates PM Sanchez's decline. An absolute majority of 58 MPs. A new leader has been born in the Spanish centre-right, who no longer has anything to envy from Isabel Díaz Ayuso or Alberto Núñez Feijóo, the current obligatory and almost exclusive right-wing references in all analyses until the 19th of June. Juanma in this last campaign, has achieved for the PP the best result in its history, more than 43% of the support in Andalusia, the land that since the dawn of the autonomous community and for 4 decades had repeatedly voted for the PSOE in the majority, until yesterday. So Socialist Party stronghold Andalusia no longer, with the Partido Popular claiming 58 seats in that parliament. And if I'm honest, I thought I would never see this day. And it's only taken 40 years for the Partido Popular to win an absolute majority there. And aren't they happy about that, as we can see in this photo? With the main leaders of the Partido Popular sitting around the telephone, obviously congratulating Mr. Moreno on his victory, and grinning like Cheshire cats, because a lot of them also no doubt thought that they would never see this day. Now let's have a look at the results in graph form, and we can see the Partido Popular there victorious with 58 seats, the PSOE party a far second with 30 seats, Vox third with 14, the left-wing party for Andalusia 5 seats, the AA party 2 seats, and participation in yesterday's election was 58.36%. Now, the Socialist Party wasn't the only party to suffer at yesterday's elections in Andalusia, because the Citizens Party were completely wiped off the political map. As we can see here, Ciudadanos collapses in Andalusia and Marin resigns. The worst-case scenario for Ciudadanos has come true. Not one MP. The party led by Juan Marin in Andalusia has not won a single seat in Sunday's elections and is sinking at both the regional and national level. Despite the determination of the C's candidate and acting vice president of the junta to reiterate that the polls would turn the result around, Ciudadanos has come face to face with reality and has been erased from the Andalusian map. The party that in 2018 achieved a triumphant result with 21 MPs with 18.27% of the support and 66,000 votes, and has governed in coalition with the PP since then, has plummeted in these regional elections to 3.29% and around 120,000 supporters. So that, I imagine, is the final nail in the coffin for the Citizens Party here in Spain. And it's only a matter of time, I think, before they disappear completely from the political scene in this country. Now, given the poor result of the Socialist Party in yesterday's elections, a lot of people are pointing the blame at Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez. And as we can see here from this article in El País, Pedro Sánchez and Yolanda Díaz sink the left side of politics in Spain. The total collapse of the left in Andalusia risks being brutally replicated across Spain if the absent self-criticism of Pedro Sánchez and Yolanda Díaz continues to shine through unabashedly. One only has to look at the self-congratulatory analyses on election night from the headquarters in Madrid to see how little the governing coalition understands its decline and the enormous strength of the Partido Popular. It is a trend that could be repeated in regional and general elections less than a year away in 2023. So there we go, a very critical article from a newspaper that normally supports the Socialist Party here in Spain, El País. Now there's some bad news for people that like to eat watermelons and melons on these hot Spanish summer days, and it is that the price of those products is currently soaring. As we can read here, the soaring price of watermelons, melons and peaches changes the fruit consumption habits of Spaniards. The sharp rise in food prices is changing the shopping basket of the vast majority of Spaniards who continue to buy fruit, but perhaps not as much as they would like due to the rise in price of the much coveted watermelons, melons and peaches in the middle of the heat wave. Already in the month of April, the increase in the price of some of these fruits was more than ostensible, as indicated by data from the consultancy firm IRI, which notes an annual increase in the price of watermelon of 18.7% and melon of 3.2%, also compared to April 2021. Fruit prices in general rose by 10.3% in April, and the rise has been increasing. So bad news for melon and watermelon lovers here in Spain, myself included. Now, drowning deaths at Spanish beaches seems to be on the rise, with 7 people drowning at Spanish beaches last weekend. And as we can see here, alert over 100 drowning deaths. In Spain, we know how to float, but not how to swim. 7 people drowned in Spain last weekend, and it is not an isolated tragedy. The count for the first 12 days of June amounted to 19 deaths from this cause, and raised the 2022 counter recorded by the Federation of Rescue and Lifesaving to 102 deaths compared to 66 in 2021 at the same point in the calendar. We will always have limited resources. We have to make people aware of the dangers. We have to inform without alarming, says water safety expert Ramesses Martí. Governments, he stresses, have a duty to protect and inform, but the public must listen and learn. So Spaniards not the strongest swimmers going around, according to that water safety expert. Now, home sales here in Spain to foreigners continues to rise, and foreigners now buy more homes in Spain than before the pandemic. Foreigners are now buying more homes in Spain than before the pandemic, and although they still do not represent 16.9% of the total number of sales and purchases registered in 2019, they have exceeded the percentage weight they had that year in the Balearic Islands, Canary Islands, Aragon and Asturias. While in 2019, 84,263 homes were sold to foreigners, 16.9% of the more than 501,000 transactions that year, according to the INE. In 2021, the number reached 86,524, 15.3% of the 565,523 sold in Spain. That is around 3% more homes. So demand from foreign property buyers here in Spain still high. Now let's have a look at some of the comments from previous videos. One here from DC's Odyssey. Stuart, are you still giving COVID updates around Spain, or is that news weekly statistics phased out already? Yeah, DC, thanks for the comment, and the answer is no. I am no longer giving COVID information updates. And the reason is that the information about COVID is not as readily available as it was some months ago. The press here seems to have moved on from the pandemic, and it's not easy, as I said, to find that information. And although people are still catching COVID here in Spain, it's not dominating headlines as it was in 2020 and 2021. Fortunately. One here from Desert Dweller. Hola Stuart, I'm moving to Portugal in 2023. It just seems easier for US citizens because of the tax breaks and percentage of population who speak English. I enjoy your videos. Yeah, Desert Dweller, thanks for the comment and good luck with your upcoming move to Portugal in 2023. I hope all goes well. And Portugal does seem to be attracting a lot of foreign residents nowadays, and perhaps the things that you mentioned in your comment are the reasons for this. Tax breaks and a higher percentage of the population that speaks English. So if anybody else out there has chosen Portugal over Spain for those reasons, or any other reason for that matter, please let us know in the comment section below. One here from Patricia. On elections, we are still disenfranchised. As long-term residents, we can vote in the local elections, but not in the Spanish general elections. Neither can we vote by post in the UK general elections. The British government promised to rectify this years ago. Then we got Brexit. I was wondering if Spain might grant us this right. Do you know anything? Yeah, Patricia, thanks for the comment, but unfortunately, I know absolutely nothing about this topic. I have no idea whether the UK government is going to change its stance and allow non-residents to vote in general elections by post. And I don't think there's any talk about Spain allowing non-citizens to vote in its general elections. So I understand your dilemma and that you may be feeling a bit disenfranchised, but at least you can vote in local elections here, which is something that I cannot. One here from Robert. Asturias isn't suffering a heat wave. Mountains to the south and sea to the north creates a microclimate unlike the rest of Spain. Many people coming up from the south looking for homes. Yeah, Robert, thanks for the comment, and you're right. A lot of people from the rest of Spain looking to escape the hot temperatures heading to the north of the country, places like Asturias and are buying up homes there. In fact, my neighbours to the left have recently done just that. And it is the proximity of those mountains to the sea which creates that microclimate. So if you're in Asturias and close to some of those cooler coastal areas, I'm sure there's going to be a massive influx of people there this summer. So get ready for that. One here from Darshan. Nice video, Stuart. I think those houses and flats look ugly in my opinion. It was 31 degrees in the Midlands yesterday. I find wearing light colour clothing helps a bit. Hasta luego, amigo. Yeah, Darshan, thanks for the comment, and you're not the only person who pointed out that perhaps when the temperatures are hot, better not to wear dark clothing, as I did in the other day's video. But it was 10 to 9 in the morning and it wasn't the hottest part of the day. And although the top I had on was black, it was one of those running t-shirts that helps your body breathe a little bit better. So that's my excuse and I'm sticking to it. And when it comes to the other thing that you mentioned in your comment, some of the ugly houses and flats in this area, I couldn't agree more, because a lot of parts of Spain, especially the cities, are filled with ugly eyesores. And finally, one here from Koffa. Not a fan of churros? WTF? Yeah, Koffa, thanks for the comment, and that's exactly what I said the other day when I was walking past the local churro shop, that I'm not a fan of that product, especially for breakfast. In fact, for me, there's nothing worse than having a fatty donut sitting in my stomach for hours and hours in the morning. Give me a yogurt, some fresh fruit, even a piece of toast with some tomato and olive oil in it, a cup of coffee, any day, over a breakfast of churros and porras. On that note, I'll wrap the video up. Questions and comments, please leave them in the section below. Give us your opinion on the famous churro, whether you like them or not. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. I'll see you in the next one. Hasta luego.